Hello everyone, welcome to my gardening channel. In this video, I will introduce the tomato climbing frame I built. Before introducing the climbing frame, let's first understand the growth height of tomatoes. Tomatoes can be divided into two categories based on their growth habits and height, determinate and indeterminate. First, let's look at determinate tomatoes. For this type of tomato, when the plant grows to a certain height, the top will stop growing and concentrate on flowering and fruiting. The plant height is usually around 1 to 2 meters. The advantage is that it is suitable for small-scale planting, easy to manage and harvest. The fruit ripens in a concentrated period, suitable for home planting and commercial large-scale planting. Common varieties include Roma tomatoes, Mamond, Farmer's Baby, etc. Next, let's take a look at indeterminate tomatoes. This type of tomato has no clear height limit for plant growth and can continue to grow, bloom and bear fruit. The plant height can usually reach more than 2 meters, and some can even reach more than 3 meters. The advantages are a long fruiting period, high yield, suitable for continuous harvesting, and suitable for greenhouse and shed cultivation. Common varieties include cherry tomatoes, beefsteak tomatoes, black princes, etc. In addition, there is a type in between the two, called semi-determinate. The height and growth habits of this type of tomato plant are between the determinate and indeterminate types, and the height is usually between 1.5 to 2.5 meters. It seems that tomatoes are tall plants. Even for determinated tomatoes, their plant height can reach 1 to 2 meters, not to mention indeterminated tomatoes, which can grow up to more than 3 meters. Therefore, in order to ensure the good growth of tomatoes, it is necessary to build a climbing frame for them. The design of my tomato climbing frame was inspired by the flower arch. The basic principle is to let the plants grow from one side of the frame to the top, and then use gravity to naturally hang on the other side of the frame. It not only conforms to the characteristics of plant growth, but also makes rational use of space and is neat and beautiful. Moreover, this frame can meet the growth needs of various types of tomatoes, which can be said to be a universal design. To build this tomato climbing frame, we first need to fix 4 load-bearing columns. Looking down from the sky to the ground, the 4 columns are just the 4 vertices of the rectangle. The spacing of the columns needs to be determined according to the actual terrain of the vegetable garden and the size of the climbing frame you want. My frame is 2 meters long and 1 meter wide, just enough for one person to pass under the frame, and each side of the frame can support 5 tomatoes growing side by side. For the column material, I chose this kind of shepherd's hook with 5 claws, which can be firmly anchored in the ground. Because the claws of the shepherd's hook are sharp, I can usually step directly into the ground with my feet, which is also very convenient to operate. There are 2 pear trees in my vegetable garden that never bear fruit, but I can't bear to cut them down. Later, I simply trimmed their branches to be very short and used them as columns. My tomato climbing frame borrowed a tree and used 3 shepherd's hooks, and the 4 load-bearing columns were arranged in this way. After the columns are fixed, we need to tie a crossbeam between the 2 adjacent columns in each group. These 2 crossbeams are the basis for continuing to build the roof. The material selection range of the crossbeam is very wide, as long as the length and strength of the stick are suitable. I personally advocate using local materials. When pruning trees in autumn and winter every year, I will deliberately keep some branches that are more suitable for building a rack in length and shape, so that they can be used when needed. The crossbeams of my tomato plate climbing rack are made of branches pruned last year. Use wire or tie bands to firmly fix the crossbeams on the columns. After the beams on both sides are tied, we can build the roof. The roof of my tomato climbing frame is curved. In addition to the aesthetic factors, this curved roof has many structural advantages. First, the curved structure has good self-supporting properties and can effectively disperse and bear the weight and external pressure from above, such as wind, snow, etc. This shape design makes the climbing frame more stable when subjected to external forces. Second, the curved surface design of the curved ceiling allows rainwater to flow away quickly, reducing the possibility of water accumulation and improving drainage efficiency. Third, the curved ceiling can provide a higher internal space and a larger volume, so that people will not feel depressed when passing through the interior. Fourth, the curved ceiling design can promote air circulation, enhance the natural ventilation effect, and help reduce the temperature accumulation inside the tomato plate climbing frame. Fifth, the curve and streamlined design of the curved ceiling breaks the monotony of the traditional climbing frame. Its arc can make the tomato plate climbing frame appear lighter and smoother, increasing the overall beauty. There are many choices of materials for the ceiling frame. You can use fiberglass for building professional arches or thick iron wire. I followed the style of using local materials and used thin branches pruned in autumn. 2 or 3 branches were twisted into a thicker branch to ensure that it can be bent and increase strength. I prepared 5 groups of such branch combinations. You can also increase or decrease them according to the size of your climbing frame. Bend these branches into arches with the same arc size, and then evenly fix them on the beams at both ends. In order to make the ceiling more solid, I added 2 additional beams to the arc frame and fixed them with binding tape to make the overall structure of the ceiling more stable. Finally, according to the number of tomatoes planted on both sides of the climbing frame, fix the traction rope on the crossbeam of the climbing frame to help the tomatoes grow upright. And the entire climbing frame construction project is completed. I chose this kind of gardening wire with green coating as the material of the traction rope. This kind of wire is relatively strong and can be reused for many years. You can also choose other materials according to your actual situation, such as hemp rope, nylon rope, or even bamboo poles or thin branches. The next step is to use the climbing frame to help the tomatoes grow at all stages of their growth. When the tomato stems are not very tall, wrap or tie the tomatoes to the traction rope to help them grow upright. When the height of the tomatoes reaches the ceiling of the climbing frame, gently tie the tomatoes to the curved ceiling so that they can grow smoothly to the other side of the climbing frame. When the stems of the tomatoes grow longer, we can use gravity to let them grow downwards. If necessary, we can tie the angling stems to the traction rope on the other side, which is both regular and provides the necessary support to prevent the long stems of the tomatoes from being broken by wind and rain. Well, that's all for this video. I hope it will be helpful or inspiring to those who love tomato planting. Finally, I wish you all a happy tomato planting experience and gain something. You are also welcome to subscribe, like, comment and forward my video. See you next time.